guys have that has to help. Also,
Yeah.
before you start, if you could introduce yourself and your title or what you do for a living, and then I'll ask you the question. I apologize.
It's okay. My name is Vera, and me and my husband both have a marketing company, and I do content management, mainly copywriting, editing, and supervising.
Great. And so prior to starting on the program with me, what were your major pain points? What were you struggling with the most?
A routine was a big one. I honestly didn't have one, which is something I've been working towards to develop a strict routine that can also be changed and modified depending on the situation, because I am also a mom of two very small kids. So, I can't have an extremely strict routine because it throws me off a lot. So I had to learn how to keep everything within their routine, but also keep it modifiable for
Okay.
me. That's one point. Another was obviously eating habits. I wouldn't say I chose the worst options for myself when it comes to food choices. It wasn't that. I feel like my biggest struggle was having not being not having the routine of eating. So like time, that I would undereat a lot, or I would go on without food for long periods of time and then remember, hey, I have to eat, and then, just losing control overall. I also struggle with eating disorder, which does not help. Not having a routine with eating doesn't help. Because then, I have this impulse control at the end of the day where I would just, eat whatever and not even think twice, and then just, you know, all the emotional wreck that we know is associated with eating disorders. And another, I think, oh yeah, and hormonal imbalance. I think this is where we wanted to heal my body and see where certain food, even food additives that I would unconsciously eat, consume, just eliminating certain foods from my diet would help my thyroid issues and my PCOS that I've been struggling with. So just that hormonal imbalance is still a work in progress, but it's really it's going in the great direction, I must say. I didn't think it was possible, but
It's been a
that's
blessing, isn't it?
yeah. And I feel like also my mood is strongly associated. My mood swings are strongly associated with my not only the lack of a routine that I've had before, but hormones.
Mhm.
Oh, and another big one, water drinking is, I think that took me the most, which is so surprising because usually is the easiest for people. Whatever somebody's like telling me the habits they need to change, and they say they need to drink more water, a lot of people are not drinking enough water, but I feel like if they focus on it, it's easier for them to do it, whereas for me it's just it was a struggle. I don't know why. I think it's that forgetfulness of having that water. It's not just drinking water, just remembering that oh gosh, I have to drink water, but it's a big difference if you do drink it versus if you don't.
I
That's
agree.
for sure.
I agree. And we saw that difference play out in your life.
Yeah.
So, great list of things you were struggling with. How did we combat those struggles, and were we able to start making progress with some of those struggles you were dealing with before we start as we went through the program?
So, can you repeat that? Sorry, my ADHD brain is
No
trying
worries.
to put
The
things
struggles
into.
you listed,
Mm-hmm.
the program that we utilize, were we able to change some of those struggles?
Oh,
And
absolutely. Absolutely. I was just telling Thomas about it now today that, despite us making the decision, you, and my psychologist making the decision of not weighting myself daily,
Mhm.
because that was not good for me for my, things I'm dealing with. Um, I feel like I'm making much better progress since we stepped aside from the scale. And I'm not putting the scale away forever. I know there will be a time where I have to get back on it, and I will. I just don't want to do it. I just feel like the progress really started when I emotionally detached from the scale. And this isn't about body positivity because I'm not a proponent of that movement. That depends on how you look at it, but in general sense, I'm not. I feel like people have to take care of themselves, and it's not only about it's not about how you look at all.
Well, we
I'm a,
discussed it was a trigger
yeah,
for you for your eating disorder as
but
well.
it was a trigger for me. I think for not normal people who don't deal with eating disorders, scale is an important integral part of everything. um and it was for me too, especially in the beginning when we started losing all that water weight, and it was wow, I could go down. I feel like I'm actually I want to step on that scale to see what progress I've made, because just looking at the clothes and the workouts that I've had, and my body is just changing.
Beautiful.
And that's what I realized. It's, gosh, I'm changing, and I've received a lot of compliments from people who haven't seen me in a while. I was at a kid's birthday party, and everyone was just shocked. And my friend was even, we were moving to our uncle's house, going for another post party for the kid, and the after party. And my friend was messaging me on the way. She couldn't believe, they were discussing with her husband. They're like, the changes that wow, you look amazing. And I felt like crying. I was like, I see, because I don't step on the scale, I might not see it day-to-day basis, but just the thought that other people notice it, and even I see it in the mirror.
I could
It's
see it
just
just by looking at you again since the last time we talked on Zoom, and
glimpsed,
face
right?
is so different. Yeah, you look a lot younger
Yeah,
now.
and people have been saying that. And yeah, so that was one. I think the biggest, which honestly I never thought I would say this, because I was so concentrated on weight loss, and I
Mhm,
was so concentrated on my body image, because my world with eating disorder revolves around my body image.
mhm,
It's my control and body image. It's something that I've been struggling with forever. It preoccupied my mind 24/7. I didn't want to visit my family in Poland because I know everyone is lean in Poland, and I'm like, I'm not going. There's no way I'm going when I lose weight. Same with vacation. Taking vacation was such a struggle for me, and not because I look bad. I don't think now, yeah, but very, like, I feel like I made such big progress. But even before, I feel like there was a lot of things I had to combat mentally, and just changing that mindset and working around it. This is what I call body positivity, working towards, the goal of being healthier, even looking better. I mean, I'm a woman, I want to look good. So that's, I don't want to put that aside completely. I want to take care of myself. I want to be attractive for my husband. I'm a woman, but just this is what I think the true meaning of being body positive means, that you're working towards a specific goal, but you're also changing your mindset with it, because you want to be healthier and you want to have more energy. And I feel like this is what I've been struggling with. Oh, my thinking was so distorted.
mhm.
So I can't believe what
So
I had in my head.
now, will you say that the regimen from the program, the structure, the scheduling, and the eating habits, and of course the sleep, helped you change that
Yeah.
mindset?
Absolutely. It helps me reflect back on my day, and even staying accountable was a was a big issue for me before, because of the fear that I had underneath.
Hmm.
Especially when something went wrong, I was not able to admit it, or I would run and hide and isolate myself, versus now it's, gosh, I'm a human being, I will make a mistake. That the thing is, I need to bounce back.
Hmm.
And what I've noticed throughout this program, it's bouncing back is so easy. And I'm not saying I make a mistake of, let's say, overeating, because that has changed dramatically. Like I told you, I think a couple days ago, that the routine has become so smooth. for me that sometimes I would forget to like even message you until like afternoon, noonish, one, because it was just so smooth for me. But I'm saying even in case of like a sickness. So my immune system was so down before we started this that I think I've been sick maybe 3 or 4 even times throughout working with you. And I think it also could be a response from my body healing and all the everything going up and down. But um it's also the season. But what I wanted to say was, the bouncing back portion, even going back to working out, I would probably wait weeks before going back to working out, let alone eating healthy, I'd just let myself go,
Okay.
and continue staying depressed because of it. Now it's like, I had a setback, 3-day setback. I had to recover. Let me get back to it. And even with that stomach flu that I had recently, remember you told me to recover and I just really wanted to go work out
Yeah.
because I didn't want to lose it. That has never happened before. So that was quite amazing.
Good. Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Now, you said there was one thing that really you didn't think that was going to make a big difference, but did. What was that you were about to finish telling me?
Mm, I don't know.
That's okay. We'll maybe you'll,
I'll remember
it's
probably.
okay.
I
So
did say that, yeah.
now that we've gone the 12 weeks of the program, what do you feel are the biggest changes that you are taking from this program and moving forward with?
Um, Definitely my routine, especially my morning routine. Sleep is a big one. And also with especially with having a baby that keeps waking up at night and just kind of creating that environment, like just reinforcing the idea of good sleep and what it means. Because I think that's one thing that we often overlook, and we're like, yeah, let me focus on food first, water, maybe
Exercise.
exercise.
Yeah.
But you know what, sleep, I'm gonna be arguing with you here, but no, and especially I see the difference. Honestly, maybe that was my thinking before. I knew how sleep was important, but what we did, we had to reorganize our life and make decisions that would benefit everyone because we have a preschooler and we are both working, and I don't want to be another zombie night, waking up, which obviously we have a baby, so it's inevitable. She's 1, so she's still waking up, especially with teething. But just having that rotation and splitting, because our kids are not sleep trained, which I don't like the word trained, but they sleep with us. And it's really hard to change that, especially with a new addition to the family. I can't just throw my preschooler out and be by yourself. So we had to come to a solution. And this is another thing that I think was amazing throughout this program, coming with solutions. I think that's what I was missing, the communication aspect and solutions. And
Mhm.
when you start communicating, and you started working with Thomas sometime me working with me, right? So working with us together also helped a lot because then we could communicate even better with our needs, because you knew Thomas's needs, you knew my needs. I think the problem was you kind of were like a couples therapist at one point. I think the problem was us communicating together and him understanding that I need that sleep, and me understanding that, we need to do something about it. And just splitting that, and me going with my preschooler who's addicted to me, and then Thomas having that bond, which I think is also important as part of being a father, to bond with the baby in that way. um, it was just a blessing. I mean, a blessing in disguise. I mean, it changed, it shifted everything. So,
I will also state, I noticed that improving sleep for both of you helped with your relationship.
oh yeah, and I see this now when one of us runs on little sleep now, and the stress,
Or
and yeah, and when the morning is out of whack, everything just goes to to pieces. It's like a domino. So I mean, I'm grateful for like even acknowledging how much it means, because even if I can get that sleep during the night, one night of the week or even twice, I mean, there would be good and bad days, right? But just knowing that, oh gosh, that sleep is so important, I have to like even take a nap or just take it easy during that day. Like you reinforce that idea a lot, to take it easy, let your body recover because you didn't get enough sleep. And that's also self-caring, that's self-care.
Well,
That's
then that
taking
was
care of you, your emotions, your mindset that day, because obviously knowing that, gosh, I didn't get enough sleep, now I know where my anger comes from, me being tired. So just knowing that source,
that,
of
and well, I was focused as well on the PCOS. When you have low sleep,
oh,
it's
right.
also good for you to reduce exercise to reduce the stress levels on
Mm-hmm.
your body. So we were also trying to think in terms of your hormones.
Yeah.
But all in all, it definitely improved the mood of both of you and helped with the relationship, especially during that trying time with the babies trying to learn
Yeah.
get to sleep in their own bed. That's tough. So that was huge. I know that was huge for you personally, is to just you guys were kind of at each other's throats for a little bit in the beginning, and then that changed
Yeah.
dramatically once we got
Mm-hmm.
sleep. I mean, it stopped almost entirely by the time you were both getting 8 hours.
Yeah. And, just Thomas understanding and me having an understanding of Thomas's needs, it's a huge difference. Like the communication aspect, um, because sometimes, especially when people are tired and there are changes within the family, within the dynamic, like having a new baby, changing jobs, whatnot, there's so much going on. I think we forget to state what we really need and kind of, hug yourself. And I need this right now. And that that is just amazing, and I think also when you started working with Thomas, that's when we really hit a good spot, because he also had to, like, there are just things that we both had to work through, and that kind of made it working through them together versus separate individually. So I would recommend this to any couple who wants to get on the right track.
I agree. I agree. I feel that, having similar goals, but also having an understanding of what those goals are of your significant other is going
Mhm.
to help you both be on track and then
Yeah.
support each other along the way. And we were able to do that since we were working in a couple setting. And even sometimes where you guys were at each other's, I was working with
Mhm.
one of them, trying to calm them down so that the entire environment was
Yeah.
healthier. So yeah, I agree that couples do end up becoming much more successful when they're working together, communicating together, and of course on my program together.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, any questions or concerns moving forward with your health in general? Do you have any questions for me on what's the next steps for you? What do you have planned? Let me hear a little bit. What do you have planned for yourself?
So definitely sticking with my eating habits, especially the timing of eating, because that was my biggest struggle, like I mentioned before. So just, staying, I don't want to say full, but just staying satisfied with my hunger throughout the day. Enormous difference. Enormous. Also, not having that crap around the house. um when you don't see it, you don't want it.
Yeah,
And
out of sight, out of mind.
yes, that's the one, that's the idiom I was looking for. But yes, so that's something that we've been doing, and it helps a lot with kids nutrition too, because let's be honest, my son goes to daycare and they don't necessarily look at it the way I do. So I want to make sure that he has the foundation, both of them. So
Good.
exposing them to different foods and working around, and having them eat what we eat is a big one. That helps with connection even, and them exploring, healthier options. Amazing. um
I also will state that it also helps end any cycle of unhealthy eating that they may have learned.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
And also, you're learning so much about your own eating disorder and how to combat that. You know now what not to do with your children, and
Yeah.
that pressure, that unneeded pressure about certain norms of how they should look. As long
Yeah.
as you're feeding them healthy, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and I think I forgot to mention one of the most important aspects that came out of this program was me setting up my own goals for my own future. I think I think we overlook that aspect a lot. I'm a natural researcher. I like to know things, but working with you, it kind of even my horizons were open to so many things like cold showers or cold baths, and even that one little thing, but even like food wise, and I want to explore and not explore in a way of trying different things because I have my own thing, but just kind of moving forward with my life also in terms of success and just having a brighter and future with goals and achieving them. I think that's one aspect that we often forget that come out of it, because it's the mindset, the strength that you gain. Your mind is strong, and
I agree.
that's the one. You're not stopping. You're never stopping. You're always in the motion, because the moment you stop, you're kind of taking a couple steps back. So it's not just you sitting and doing nothing. You're taking steps back. So that's one thing. I don't want to stop now. I just want to go. So I think when we talk in terms of my future, there's so many things that happened. And I have so many projects on my mind right now that I've been procrastinating doing. And now it's like, nah, I need this time. I'm doing it. Which I feel like it's like a big cycle, because the moment you lack energy, you don't want to do it. You lack motivation. Now it's a different story. I'm motivated. I work out. I have so much energy, and my mood just changes. I think that the natural cure for, I don't want to say cure because that sounds really bad, but the natural remedy for like our moods throughout the day. I'm not talking serious mental disorders. I'm talking like just our blues that come and go throughout the day, which is normal. Could be hormone related, right? Could be anything really. Exercise, and it's like it's so simple.
Mhm.
It's so simple. And sometimes when I feel like I don't want to do it on my worst days, I know this will be the best workout I've ever have. And so that's one. And another thing I want to mention what my plans are forward. Oh, yeah, that was it. The working out part, supplementation, because I never supplemented. I was really bad with taking even my thyroid medicine. So now it's like a routine. It's like a second nature now. Movement, in general, not being afraid of trying new things,
You notice
especially.
that you're also, because you're so motivated right now and driven, is it because you have, well, A, more energy levels, but also more focus, which comes along with sleep?
Yes, I was gonna say even my speech is more coherent now, than it was when we first talked. Like even stating my goals and the stating out points, my brain would go in different directions. It's a different thing now. It's a different story. Yeah, definitely. I'm more productive at work. I can time manage better, which was also a big one for me,
Good. Because
as
I know
anybody would.
I'm looking at my list of what you told me when you first started on your
Am
goals,
I?
and it was obviously weight loss, sleep, and
Yeah.
energy levels. So, realistically, we can see just by looking at you, you definitely hit that weight loss, for
Yeah,
sure.
I did. I did.
Sleep,
Let's not
sleep is.
forget that I also work out.
Mhm.
So I'm losing fat, I'm gaining muscle. My body is changing visually, and I'm glad I can see it, because normally I would just remain stuck. And even if I saw progress, if there was progress, I wouldn't see it. Now I see the progress I've made.
Good, good. Um, well, yeah, that's all I have from me. I'm just so happy things went this well and that you have plans for your future that are going to continue on this
Yeah.
goal and elaborate from it. Um, Things are great.
Yeah,
You
this is
started
it.
trying the ice bath, huh?
You know what? I did ice. I'm not ice bath, but I did cold shower.
Okay.
But I didn't continue. But I must say, I'm extremely proud of Thomas.
Yeah, he's kicking butt with it. I'm shocked, but
Holy crap.
it's going to
If he's
help him dramatically
expanding,
with his mood and his
yeah,
temperament because it
yeah.
brings down stress levels so dramatically that he's going to be calm as a cucumber. And we
Hmm.
even talked about that the other day. I asked him, like, you notice you're much more calm now? He's like, yeah, why is that? I'm like, because you're sleeping.
Yeah,
Sleep eight
yeah,
hours, 7 to 8 hours. You're not snapping off on everybody in
yeah.
the morning.
Yeah.
So that's
He's got the structure and it's going in the right direction. He's super happy he's working with you.
Yes, well, I think it had a lot to do with you being there to support him as well. So I appreciate your help and just staying on track and keeping him on track
Yeah.
as well and being patient with him because
Yeah.
I know that us guys can be a little much. My wife is always giving me a dirty look when I say that because, I have very low patience as well. So I totally can.
It's natural, right? It kind of comes from somewhere. So
It comes from somewhere, yeah. I'm working on that somewhere. I'm working on it,
yeah,
but everything's
yeah,
gone great. So what I like to always tell my clients is that at the end of the program, we are not done. If you ever have any questions, we are now friends. Reach out through text message anytime you have a curiosity towards something, whether it's a supplement or, hey, Shawn, do you think I should apply this workout, whatever it may be, feel free to reach out. We're always connected. You're always free to text me and we can get on a call if needed and just help you with any little problem you may have.
yeah,
I'm just so happy that this time around really is so much different than the last two times we worked. If you noticed, you stayed with me every single day checking in. You didn't disappear, but that makes sense
yeah,
why you didn't because you weren't hiding from shame from a mistake that you were bottling up from the eating disorder. So,
yeah.
being so we just approach things in a much better way. And I think we worked well as a team.
Which I also want to thank you because even though I was working with a psychologist for a few months, I'm almost a year before we started this program, because this is gonna be a year now that I'm working with her. I want to thank you because you opened my eyes to the problem I've had. Um, it was always somewhere in the back of my head that something's wrong with my eating issues, especially it turns out that it's a very serious problem. I'm not just having like a generalized eating disorder. It was bulimia. I mean, it is, I'm still working through it. But I want to thank you because honestly, I was overlooking it.
Hmm.
And I tried to overlook it as much as I could. And just the first few conversations we've had about it, remember my slip?
Oh yeah.
I think you saw it. And
It's
I,
hard to discuss it with somebody, so I wanted you to kind of
yeah,
say it first. But
yeah,
you was on the tip of your tongue, and once I let you just have the floor, and you opened up, and I think those are important calls too, because
yeah,
that you needed to get that out. You needed to
yeah.
say it out loud and acknowledge it so that you can finally start healing from it.
It was a big thing because then we kind of redirected that therapy
Mhm.
towards
Oh
that
yeah.
because behind every eating disorder is an emotional shitload of crap in the
Mhm.
head. So I censor that word, but
It's okay.
but it's and I feel like we kind of began working
Do
throughout
you
that
also notice that some of your mental health improved throughout this program?
enormously.
Why do you think that is? Just from all the factors that we worked
I
on?
I think so. I mean there is really it's really difficult to pinpoint just one single thing.
I
I
know
think
that
it's
sleep is a
everything
big
at once.
factor because sleep does bring on
Mhm.
depression and anxiety. And I've actually had another client who's completely come off of his antidepressants because we've been working together.
Yeah,
And that sleep was such a big one that he was
yeah.
able to actually get off his antidepressants.
I was
So,
at a point throughout my therapy with my psychologist. I was at a point where I actually was considering jumping on the pill trend because I used to be on antidepressants, but I I think, I don't know if my relationship would survive if I didn't start working on myself and having that therapy and having you. And I didn't want my children to see it. And I think, I'm making so child mentality and children in general is my main focus when it comes to my little research and the work that I'm thinking of doing is it concerns me a lot. And, and I think that was one aspect of what I couldn't give them a happy mom. And it was, it was really difficult. And I feel like with jumping on the trend with pill, I considered also Adderall because I felt like I can't do anything. I felt so helpless. Like there is no way that I could, even like during our first conversation, I was still considering Adderall on our orientation call. That was something I considered. And I think there's no way I'm doing it now.
Why?
You know, I don't know. It's just I could gain that focus from other sources. It just happened. It's not a it's not a miracle. It's literally anybody can do it, you know?
Sleep, exercise, proper
Just
nutrition.
basic things that we all are lacking in today's world because it's really difficult to stay on top of them. It takes work. It takes work. It
But
takes
that's
effort.
what self work is. It's just all work.
Yeah, it takes work. It literally, especially in the first few weeks.
Oh yeah, that's the first month I would say is the biggest hardest
Yeah.
transition. But that's that makes me happy personally to hear that
Yeah.
things are much different for you and you're feeling much more positive and less of an issue with the eating disorder. Any good feedback from your therapist on just how you've been pro I guess your
Yeah, she gave me an amazing feedback. At the last few sessions, she's been giving me an extraordinary feedback. She even with the pressure that I don't have anymore on things that are not important at this point in my life because I'm working on myself.
Mhm.
Just taking care of myself was a big one. And I'm not afraid to put things off because if I do something now that I will sacrifice something else that is more important at this point in my life. And
Okay.
I don't have that pressure anymore that I have to achieve this point B now because I have to concentrate on point A. And I think she noticed that. Also my binging and purging went away.
Yeah.
I didn't have an episode. It sometimes it's difficult, but I'm able to work through it. The affirmations that you've given me, especially those at night,
Hmm.
I think are, a lifesaver, and just those little tricks and tips that we've been, discovering together. It's amazing. Yeah, so
Good.
a lot of good feedback, a lot of good feedback from her.
Good. Good. I'm glad that she approved of what we were doing
Yeah,
and was happy with it as well because I wanted to make sure from a psychological standpoint that you were
yeah.
being treated properly and that we were
The
following
same
the right.
page.
Yeah,
You
I'm
were
the
on the
same.
same page. Yeah, you told me step away from the scale. I was so connected. She told me that, which I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to interfere with the program. But she told me that before.
Ah.
But she didn't tell me like you can't. She just told me that it's not recommended when dealing with ED. And that's when we first talked about that
Mhm.
ED, and then I discussed it with her, and then she said something about the scale. Then you told me not to do the scale because I'm too connected to it, and I was too attached to the number.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and once I was aware that you had ED, then of course I immediately because I had
yeah,
a client previous with that, and it really wasn't comfortable. And I had speaking to his therapist about it, and we agreed that the scale was a bad idea. So I already had previous experience, and I thought right away, as soon as you told me get rid of that scale, that's going
yeah.
to help the triggers, and it did because I think you were triggered once in the beginning of the program because we were using that
And
scale.
and my progress went through the roof.
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
was
there we
doing
go.
good. It was
Don't step
doing
on a
good,
scale
but
for another year, and I think you're going to have some great success with more self growth and changes.
oh, and I scheduled that photography session. So my husband wanted to give me a gift for my birthday, and I couldn't think what I want. I mean, he wanted to do um something extravagant.
Mhm.
And honestly, I'm not a gift person. I have everything I need, but I was considering doing like a feminine photo shoot for a long, long time for myself.
Yeah.
And so I told him, if you want to give me a gift, there's this photographer that I love her work, and some of my friends did it. And I think it's the time for me to do it. It's part
Great.
of I would call it part of the therapy. I haven't told my therapist about it yet because I haven't had a session with her yet, but it was a spur of the moment kind of thing. But it motivated me because she's known for making women feel beautiful no
Mhm.
matter. And I'm at the point where I need it. And that's kind of like my gift for myself. We're ending this program on the right note.
I
So
love it. I think that's great. And it's also going to help with the growth on your self-image as well. That
yeah,
was part of the problem with the eating disorder. This is going to
yeah.
be that transition and the healing in itself. So wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And I'm happy also for Thomas, because that's going to be a great gift for the both of you guys.
I was gonna give it to my anniversary, just a big canvas.
Yeah, there you go. Right in the
It's
office, right in the office. You
yeah,
can-
yeah.
It's great though. That's great that you actually feel confident
Yeah,
enough that
because you know what I was doing before? Before I was always procrastinating those things and putting them off and saying I'll do it when I have the body and I have a six pack, which we discussed about women and six packs. When I have all the muscle and all the frame that I want, the entire framework, the beauty, it never works that way. It's if you're putting this off now, you're never going to be happy with yourself, no matter how you look. So I
and
think,
women with abs, that's a bit of an unknown thing that
yeah,
most people don't understand
yeah.
how.
When I mentioned abs, I didn't mean like a guy's six
Yeah.
pack,
No, I
just
know, just the little
lean,
lines.
just
I
a
see what you're
little,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's definitely
Still
possible.
working towards that goal, which is
Yeah.
another goal of mine.
Great.
I've had two kids, and so that's it's gonna be hard to achieve, but I'm happy. I'm happy with
Mhm.
what I have. I'm
Good.
really
Good. And
satisfied.
that's the important part is you're happy. We hit your sleep goals, we hit your energy goals, you feel great, and now you're on to more goals. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much for being able to share this time with me and me being part of this journey with you.